holiday shopping season. A lot of people do their shopping online, of course, but if you're not careful, what seems convenient can come at a cost. Joining us now is cyber safety educator and author Claudio Popa. He's also the founder of the Knowledge Flow Cyber Safety Foundation. Thank you for your time today.
Thanks for having me on the show.
So first of all, can you just give us a sense of how prevalent cyber fraud is, particularly at this time of year when shopping is picking up?
This is the biggest show of the year. So for organized criminals as well as the bottom feeders, it's all about the end of year shopping spree. Everybody knows that people are going to be in one place. The watering hole is the e-commerce space online, and everyone's going to be looking for deals. So every cyber criminal out there is poised to provide those deals. They're going to be putting up fake sites. They're going to provide low prices, and they're going to come right into your inbox to get your attention right off the bat. So make no mistake about it. It's going to be activity from now right up until January.
You know, sometimes I go into my inbox, my junk mail, and I look at things and I say, well, that's obviously, not something I should click on. It seems very obvious, but it seems now that cyber criminals are becoming more sophisticated, and in some cases it's not obvious at all, and you could pretty easily fall into a trap.
Absolutely. And traps abound. And so one of my biggest tips this year is, unlike previous years, the first tip is check yourself, check your own ability to detect fraud, because we're not talking about 7 to 10 years ago where every phishing email came riddled with spelling and grammatical mistakes. We're talking about emails that look exactly like the real thing. They look exactly like Amazon, PayPal, eBay, or any of your banks. So we're talking about a false sense of security that we need to check. So a lot of people ask me about digital literacy and are we practicing proper cyber hygiene? Are we keeping cyber safe? We are, as long as we realize that there's a tendency for us to feel good about our own ability to detect obvious scams. And rest assured, the ones that are super successful are going to be the non-obvious ones. Those are the ones you really have to watch out for.
Right, because these cyber criminals are getting more sophisticated. Now, you just talked about digital literacy, cyber hygiene. I've never heard that one, cyber hygiene. I'm wondering if all age groups are vulnerable, or do you find seniors, for example, more likely to lack digital literacy or be familiar with cyber hygiene, so to speak?
That's an excellent question. I actually find that overall age groups, only 54% are concerned about the holiday cybercrime spree that we're just entering right now. The thing about the cyber hygiene and digital literacy awareness is that young people are overconfident because they're constantly on the internet and they feel like nobody knows the interwebs like they do. So they have this false sense of security. And older adults, which is literally every age, basically says, you know what? I've been around. Nobody's been around like me. You can't tell me how to identify fraud, or you're not going to get past me. These newfangled digital things, they're the same kind of scams that we used to see in real life. They're just in the digital realm. They're both right and they're both wrong. So this false sense of security that comes from not really knowing what to anticipate is really what could get us if we don't know some of the basic trends going into the holidays this year.
So what can we do to stay safe and protect ourselves from these cyber criminals?
Simple tips. So the first one is, when you look for a site to shop from, search engines don't know any better than you do whether a site is fraudulent or not. If you know that you want to go to a particular site, type the site in the address field. Don't Google it. The reason for that is this year, cyber criminals have really ramped up their advertising spending to the point where they're spending more on advertising than some actual legitimate companies so that they come up higher than the company that they're impersonating. So, of course, a lot of people are going to fall for that, not to mention the fact that if they go there, they're going to see unbeatable prices. So keep that in mind. Type in the web address. I mean, it's easy enough to know if you're going to ebay.ca or amazon.ca or indigo.ca or whatever it might be. You shouldn't have to type it into Google's search engine, which does a whole bunch of calculation to determine how to present you with the hits from that search. Go directly there. And the best thing to do, of course, is to use a shortcut to a site that you already know and trust. The second thing is to use a unique password for every site that you're on, because at some point, one of these sites is going to get hacked and the cyber criminals are going to take your password and plug it into all the other sites that they can think of and see if they can steal your identity from all those other sites. And the third thing is to use an ad blocker and make sure that you are evading those malicious ads, because some of those ads are literally infected and many of them will track and surveil you across the web as you do your shopping, perhaps forever. So that doesn't come just with the security risks, but with privacy risks as well.
Wow, it's a lot to consider, but those are some great tips. Thank you, Claudio Popa. We appreciate your time today.
My pleasure.